and get down to business, and then we're going to call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. We will ask you to stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Tony, as a special treat, would you do us the honor?
I'll be glad to.
Thank you.
Let's pray. Father, we are grateful for the opportunity of a new year. And Lord, it seems like so much is stirring in the city and around the city that we need your careful hand to guide us. Lord, guide our council tonight as they make important decisions, give them wisdom to do that. Lord, tonight they gather some of their appointed officials together, Lord, to take an oath. Lord, that oath is that we will support things that govern us, the laws of the state of Georgia, the Constitution of the United States, and the local ordinances, and do our very best for the citizens. Lord, we just ask you to bless the hearts of those who take that oath tonight, Lord, to fulfill it with honor and with their very best effort. Lord, we thank you for the people who actually carry out the directions of this council for the citizens, those who work here, public works and planning and zoning and enforcement. Lord, we just ask you to bless them with that same authority, Lord. We thank you for the cool of this day and for the opportunity of the beginning of the new year, Lord. And we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tony. And welcome, everybody. As I'm looking out, I see the faces of everybody who needed to be here tonight, and we thank you for coming. We're going to go ahead and start off with our roll call, and everybody is in attendance. Thank you all for being here. And next we'll move on to the agenda approval. I'll ask if there's a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Maxine? Any discussion? All in favor of approving the agenda, please raise your hand. And that's unanimous. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and start with the appointments, and I'm going to ask our municipal court clerk, Sonia Cox, to come up. And Lynn, if you would come up also. We're going to do this as a group effort, so we do not take up everybody's time tonight. And then I'm going to ask up our municipal court judge, the Honorable Sam Bard, as well as his associate, John Tony, and then also our newly appointed Mayor Pro Tem, Rachel Davis, if you would come up here too. Yes. And our city attorney, Tony Powell, is going to come and read the oath.
Okay, gang. Appreciate you being here and congratulations on this. It'll start off with I, and then if you'll state your name, then I'll read the oath and listen carefully because that's what you're swearing to. And if at the end of that, you can affirm that by saying, I so solemnly swear. I, raise your right hand. I'm sorry. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully perform the duties, and the duties are those of associate justice, judge, associate judge, municipal clerk, city administrator. And I think I've got everybody with that.
Joe, would you come up, please?
And I, Joe Morris, do solemnly swear the same. That I will perform the duties of those positions for the city of Walnut Grove, and that I will support and defend the charter thereof, as well as the Constitution and laws of the state of Georgia and of the United States of America. I do solemnly swear that I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due to this state or any political subdivision or authority thereof. I do solemnly swear that I am not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, any other state, or any foreign state, which I am by the laws of the state of Georgia prohibited from holding. I further swear that I am otherwise qualified to hold the office for which this oath is taken according to the Constitution and laws of the state of Georgia. I further solemnly swear that I have read and am qualified pursuant to OCGA 45-3-1. And if you swear that, it is, I do solemnly swear and affirm this oath, this 15th day of January, 2026.
I swear to God, I swear.
Thank you. Now, we affirm that by execution of your particular. So, Mr. Tony, we can start with you. Taylor Newberry.
Taylor is not here. We're gonna have to swear her in. She's in Wyoming, so she thought it was gonna be.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Congratulations all.
Yeah, you coming up here for a minute? Please. Erica. I thought she's never.
And before you take that picture, as city attorney, Anthony Powell, I also do solemnly swear.
Oh, yeah. Back then, you was coming on in here. Got a big group tonight, we're gonna have to get together. Here's all your life. Thank you.
Oh, come on.
All right.
Hello.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Thanks, man. Where your dad? That's right. Thank you. Good to see you. Take care.
Congrats to you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm gonna take a little break here. We have something that we're very proud of, that we want to go ahead and we have somebody from GMA, her name is Sherry Bailey, and she is a representative for our District 5. And our Public Works manager came to us from Watkinsville, and he came in and he saw the need and the desire of this city to find funds that the citizens didn't have to pay. And he was aware of a program through GERMA and another TMA entity where we could apply for public safety grants, and he did just that. And I think he put in for about $30,000 worth, but our maximum was $6,000, and that's what we received. And Sherry is here tonight to present us with the checks and the big check. We asked Toby to be here because Toby Hartledge was responsible for getting that public works grant put in and awarded, and we just wanted to make sure that Toby was recognized.
So just a little background real quick. So Toby applied for this grant. I am with the Georgia Municipal Association. I'm a member services consultant, and this is one of my cities in my district. And so through GMA, we have property and liability insurance, GERMA, and then we have workers' comp insurance. And through both of those, cities are eligible if you participate to apply for a grant. They applied for both, and so they got $3,000 from each, which was the max for the city, and they got $6,000. And Toby was telling me that he's already spent the money. Safety equipment, right, for public works and some security software system?
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, pretty much. We want to get everybody?
Yeah, let me get everybody behind us. Want to get up there?
What is there back here?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll teach.
Do we say one here?
No, you guys are good. Here.
It's heavy. It's
I was
really
telling
tall.
you, very tall.
And Linda,
That's fantastic.
what can you say?
Linda, come this way and Sherry scoot in. There you go. Okay. On three. 1, 2, 3. Okay, great. We got it.
Thank you.
Good job, Toby. Good job. Thanks, Sherry.
Sherry, do we get to keep the big check?
And I was just saying, Leah, have to actually cheers.
So I want to go to the bank with the big check.
Yeah.
Okay. Sherry, thank you for coming tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
Whenever you come.
My
Okay,
pleasure.
with that being said, what did you say?
His computer said, my pleasure. It's
See.
a Chick-fil-A computer.
Oh, Sherry.
It's a Chick-fil-A.
We're going to go ahead and move on to the next section, which is our public hearing, and I'm going to turn it over to our city administrator, Joe Bruce.
We'll be having a public hearing to discuss and then vote on the conditional use for 2610 Leo Avenue as a proposed place of worship for Chapel Woods Presbyterian Church. So now anyone who would like to speak in favor, come up.
Mayor, City Council, and Walnut Grove citizens, thank you for this opportunity to speak today. And for considering our conditional use permit for the 2610 Leon property and adjacent commercial property as a location for our church. My name is Rebecca Payton, and I am speaking in favor of the conditional use permit. I am the business administrator for Chapel Woods Church. I'd like to give you a little bit of backstory about how we've gotten this far to this part in our church's life. Chapel Woods was formed in 1964. Our current pastor, Robert Thompson, who is also my father, became the senior pastor in 2003. We're a small Presbyterian church, traditional and reformed in worship, and have an emphasis on evangelism and discipleship. Our church was approached by about selling our property in Snellville last summer. We did not have it on the market. We followed the Lord's direction and sold it in October. We are now renting Youth Middle School as our temporary location. Our realtor, Carmen Donaldson, who I met through our children attending school together and the two of us volunteering, posted on Facebook that we were looking for a small church or property. Jacqueline and Justin Myers reached out to her and proposed that the home be turned into a church building. The Lord has certainly opened and closed doors throughout this whole process, and it has been awe-inspiring to see him work. My husband, Wesley Payton, and I live in the Walton County side of Oxford. We have 2 boys that have grown up attending school in the Walnut Grove cluster. Our youngest is currently enrolled in 6th grade at Youth Middle School, and our oldest is a freshman at Walnut Grove High School. And we have been very blessed to raise our boys in this area of Walton County and be involved in the community. If we are graciously granted this conditional use permit from you all, we would do everything we can to be an asset to this community. As a parent who drops off their 9th grader and picks him up every day from Walnut Grove High School, I get to sit in that traffic, and I certainly understand the concerns of traffic flow. We also drive on 81 right past the location to attend the church at our Youth Middle School temporary location, and we have noticed our small congregation has little to no impact on the current traffic flow. Even as we hope to grow, it would not seem to be a major impact as church services are different than regular school hours, sporting events, and business times. Since we also would be purchasing the commercial lot next to the home in order to meet the required 3 acres, the potential for more traffic from any other commercial business would not exist. We are currently considering changing our service times on Sundays to accommodate our church family and to ensure traffic is not a hindrance to the citizens of Walnut Grove and surrounding areas. As shown on the site plan, the entrance and exit to the church would be on Park Street with the conditions of a right turn only and concrete barrier curbing as stated by the Planning and Zoning Commission. One of the appeals of this property is its location and its beauty. We plan to only do as required from Walnut Grove city ordinances and prefer not to disturb the property as much as possible. A fence of appropriate height and privacy materials would be built on the north and west side that meet residential properties. The gravel parking lot and retention pond would help with drainage and water runoff. And any safety measures required would also be included in the modification of the bill. Even in the way the Dimsdales built their home, it lends itself to easily be converted into a sanctuary in the layout, the trusses, the floor joists, even being built with steel I-beams. The downstairs would be utilized as a youth room, offices, and entrance from the back parking. We really appreciate all the help and guidance we've received from the Walnut Grove City Manager and staff, the site planner, structural engineer, and Justin Myers with his construction knowledge. We welcome any and all input that will help us make this property work for our family and be able to help the community in any way the Lord guides us. Thank you for your time and consideration. We give God all the glory in the process and how we have gotten to this point. This has certainly been all of his doing, and we're excited to see how he continues to use us and how he is glorified.
Anybody else like to speak in favor?
I'm Pastor Robert Thompson, pastor of the church, and I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity of us being here. The consideration is the first place. Just to reiterate just a small thing, part of what Rebecca was saying, was from our spiritual heritage and the things that we are as children of God, that we trace our lineage back to Abraham. And because of that, he was both blessed, but he also was a blessing to wherever he was. And that is our goal. If you so allow us to have the provisional property usage for that, is to be a blessing for the community, not just for ourselves, but also for the community. We really feel like that the Lord God has brought us in this direction. You will confirm or deny that one way or the other this evening as you make your decision, but we do want to thank you for the opportunity and feel like that we would add to the growth, but also to the stability of the community. And our folks who moved here, we moved here from Snellville, right down the road in Oxford, for the very reason for what the Lord was doing and how He was moving us in this direction. So I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else like to speak in favor? There's no one else. Would anyone like to speak against? If you wouldn't mind stating your name and address, please.
Virgil Baldwin, 920 Park Street. I was wondering how this is gonna work with the roundabout that was talked about up there. And with them putting an entrance on Park Street, which I live right across the street where they're talking about putting an entrance. We already have trouble getting in and out of our driveways. And I'm wondering, the gas lines, all them gas lines are gonna be moved, they have to be moved if they put a driveway on the Park Street side, because there's a gas line meter right there that runs down Park Street. So all them gas lines, that's in there. I just don't understand how we can accommodate all that traffic right there at the corner. I mean, it's just, we've got so much traffic now, and afternoons and the mornings, which they say not in the times, and by no means I have anything against the church, but it's just so hard already to get in and out of our driveways. And you turn around and put a church right there, which you're talking a 30 congregation plus 2. How is the septic tank system going to cover the 30 people who have a house? they can't hook to the sewer because I'm assuming anything from this side of 81, no one can hook to the sewer. So you got that logistics too, wondering how a 30 congregation can work off that septic system. And it doesn't look like there's that much parking there for 30, which I say they're gonna buy the property beside it, but that's a lot of parking. I don't understand. And then the water running that you're talking about, we already have water running off the 81 that comes down my driveway, which I've done discussed with him a couple of times, that we've got water running in different areas. Now we're gonna put something else, which we're gonna have more water going in different areas that's already going. And just, I don't understand how, with it right there where you're gonna put it, how it's gonna accommodate for people getting in and out. I mean, just, it'd be different if they were coming in all on 81, but coming in on Park Street, we're, like I said, Park Street's already, the road is breaking up, but our road is already cracked. I mean, I just don't understand how we can get in and out of there with people coming in and out of that entrance. It's the only thing I'm wondering how that's gonna work, especially with the roundabout coming. Because won't they have to have decel lane too? When they get from 81 to turn into their place, they're gonna have a decel lane too, won't they? I mean, I'm just curious. Would they not have to have a decel lane?
Well, we'll have to ask our vendor about that.
But that's the only thing I have to say about it. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Anybody else like to speak again?
Are we bringing up Joe or anybody to speak on it, or?
And not for the public.
Okay, all right, so we're gonna close the public hearing. Is there gonna move on to, so we're closing the public hearing, then we'll go ahead and move on to the consent agenda and ask for a motion on the consent agenda, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I have a question. On one of the invoices, the Macklemore Middlebrooks, is that for the year-end audit?
It
The
is,
15,000?
yes, it is. Any other questions? All in favor of approving the consent agenda, please raise your hand. So we will go on to public comment. Any public comment tonight? Moving on to old business, and that is the voting and conditional use for 2610 Leon Avenue. And Joe, I'm gonna let you take over.
Before bringing Joe Bolster up, just wanted to make sure everyone was aware, during the planning and zoning meeting, it was recommended for approval of the condition of having a barrier for a right turn only. And one citizen spoke in favor and one citizen spoke against during that meeting. It was also 2-1.
2-1. Okay. Thank you, Joe. Mr. Walter.
Evening, Mayor Council, and I apologize for not being able to make the planning commission meeting, but flew hit my house, so. Since I wasn't at that meeting and we talked about it in the previous work session, but wasn't really had the opportunity to present a full analysis. So realistically, what I would propose to do with this time is if you have council has questions about a presentation you've heard, I can answer that and give you my, professional opinion on some of those issues. Because this is, a lot of the issues brought up are kind of rolled more out of the, isn't the most appropriate land use, but there are the considerations of impact on the property that are being, discussed and such else. So,
Council. Any questions?
I probably have several, and I'm not even sure where to start. But I was unable to make the planning and zoning meeting, so I did not hear anything there. But my first question is, since we are looking at both properties, one of my questions was, should they be zoned the same? rather than two different zonings for those properties if it's to be one entity? And that may be a question for Tony rather than you, I'm not sure.
Well, we did discuss that at length at the previous work session as far as the currently the house is zoned R1 and the corner lot is zoned C1. So this conditional use permit was requested to allow a place of worship in the R1 district, but they brought the C1 piece in the contract to get you kind of caught up to make the 3 acres requirement for a place of worship. A place of worship is allowed by right in the C1. So it's kind of a different discussion. Ultimately, their goal is that they want to be able to use this house, former residence, as a place of worship. And they could do it the way if it was approved as is, it was not advertised to rezone the property, the C1 piece to R1.
The question was, since the one property, the R1 that would have the conditional use does not meet the requirement by itself, do we need to have the other property zoned R1 if we give conditional, or do we need to rezone to a commercial and have them both commercial so that the church fits into that in order to legally place a church there?
Once the conditional use permit is, if it were granted, then under both zoning classifications, they can utilize those facilities as a church. It is properly zoned for a church. It's probably more restrictive than what you could do, which is to change it all to C1. And what you're doing there is going beyond what their utilization is and creating a future land use of commercial on that corner. That's sort of a big step. You certainly can do that. Can you do that tonight? Because one parcel, the C1 parcel, is not before you. And so they are accomplishing what they need to. I think the zoning classes will allow them to do, if you approve it, do what they're doing. If you decide that that area should be C1 in the future, the council could make those consistent with its own action with a amendment to the zoning map at some point in the future. But it has to go through the advertisements of the Zoning Procedures Act in order to get it here for you to take action on. But if y'all approve it, I think it can be used for what they asking.
The other Maxine, is the other issue is if you were to go down at the moment to go for a C1 on the back part, then you impose a 50-foot buffer.
Actually, I'm looking at just the opposite.
Yeah.
If it were me, I would be looking at having it all zoned R1, give the conditional use. And I having thought it through since our other meeting, I feel like that literally gives the city a bit more control if we were to approve this, because down the road, because that corner, there's big concern about traffic. That seems to be one of the biggest concerns. If that's all ends up zoning commercial, we have less control over what goes in there. If we allow the church under a conditional use, we actually have more control. And in my mind, the church does have less traffic flow than most business.
I don't disagree with that thought process. I know this was presented as a conditional use. I mean, you have that, you could sort of go down that road, but a lot of the items that were brought up from the gentleman who's a neighboring property owner, a lot of those would fall into developmental considerations that would have to be. He is very true about the gas lines and storm drainage and desaline and all that. No matter what use went on this, unless the house was left as a house and nothing, the lower piece wasn't ever developed, would have to be addressed. And you have ordinances and codes that cover that. But we brought it up in the previous work session about those. That they would have to make all those adjustments. They wouldn't move all those big pylons, but they would have to do the necessary engineering for the decel lane. Now, I understand why they wouldn't want to try to tackle anything on 81, because the GDOT process is extremely expensive and time consuming, and they're trying to maximize funds. So that's why I think Park Street, they probably selected that because it was I mean, the roadway, it all, you know, a lot of the concerns I may have on this was how they're gonna grade it all, but see, all that's a developmental issue to get the parking to work relationship to the, because it all falls off from the road down by the house. Zoning wise, if they were to, if the decel lane was done and the concrete triangle was put in to limit movement right in, right out, then that would certainly alleviate left-hand turns up to the Park Street. And if something were to, I guess if there was future plans on modifying that intersection, I don't know if there are, but you never know with GDOT, then all that would have to be, all that will be accomplished then.
Is the driveway supposed to be gravel as well as the parking lot?
They propose a paving, they propose a pave decel lane transition to gravel when they get to the property line.
Which property line?
The C1 property line moving north.
Okay.
And then gravel all around that. And part of that, I'm sure, is a cost factor. Part of it also has to do with stormwater. They do show a stormwater, an area for a stormwater pond. Of course, that would only be fleshed out if they move forward with their, putting their development plans in. Gravel in this case would actually help with that because it would reduce the velocity and some of it would infiltrate in and not sheet flow into adjoining property owners. And anything along Park Street, they would have to make accommodations for the drainage that come. I know it stoops down Park Street because 81 is a ridge top. I know on both sides it's an issue. What they could not do in any development on this is make that condition works. They'd have to accommodate that in their design.
The reason I asked that is this is, the Hello, you're in Wanacre area of the city. And do we want a gravel parking lot right there, at that main crossroad? If they were to do asphalt, if they were to put in additional infrastructure, could that work?
It could work. I mean, that's a development issue that, yes, they could. It would just have to accommodate the fact that your impervious surface has gone up, so your pond has to be bigger. But if you're looking at the, y'all also look at the aesthetics of it. It sits below the road. This site plan didn't really talk about any landscaping along the frontage. You could also landscape that and possibly soften the effect of any improvements. There, the thing I would also be interested in is, there's a fairly established tree line between the adjacent property owners moving down Park Street. It's kind of hard to tell where this actually is because, so I would want to also to think about is try to maintain as much of that tree coverage on the C1 piece and also on that back buffer so that it acts as a visual and a noise buffer. And back to the septic system question, the environmental health would regulate what the load is on that, and they would have to submit for that. And if their proposed use is going to facilitate, a number of users beyond what it, residential structure, they would have to make improvements to the septic system. That's, and I don't know if they've done that homework yet. I know that may not happen because there's cost incurred, but they may have to get creative with their, what I mean creative is have to take the technology up a level to be able to handle that amount of, wastewater.
That's another question that I have from an inspection type point of view. If that home was converted to a church and a sanctuary for 30+ members, would they have to conform with building codes for gatherings? Meaning sprinklers and fire suppression systems and that sort of thing, from the fire marshal?
Yes, they would have to, because it's a conversion of a residential use to a non-residential use. There's generally any structure in Walnut Grove that was going to that would have to basically have a inspection done for, if they didn't already know, to make sure that it met the accessibility and fire marshal's codes. You don't have a very effective fire marshal here that serves Walton County. We've gotten to know him very well, Mr. Peakway. And then, so he would be able to advise them on what improvements need to be made. Plus, your building inspector with the compliance, it took me a while, those squirrels were slow. Compliance inspection normally is done right off the bat to sort of lay those out. Now, they may have already factored that in because of the, their knowledge base they bring to the project. And I'm sure that's costed in, they've included that cost in the project development. You as the city, before a CO was issued, assuming if the conditional use was approved, all that would have to be done, and they would have to obtain a land disturbance permit to do their site work, whatever ended up being approved. If you all approved a conditional use permit with conditions, then part of what has to be done is to make sure the drawings are submitted, address those comments, satisfy your conditions. Plus, David Dixon at Walton EHS would have to sign off.
Right.
Walton County Water would just need to acknowledge that the water that serves that is sufficient. I'm sure it probably is for that group. The gas would have to do that. They would have to be discussed, and then, and then the fire marshal. And all that would be part of we would, and Joe would, as part of, they submit a drawing and say, you got to go see all those people, bring us back proof before you could move forward. And then they'd have to get a building permit for any interior upgrades. Now, I'm not versed in the International Fire Code to know about sprinklers and all that. I know that a lot of times with older structures that, there's ADA guidelines have to be met, and I think they've factored some of that in, but all that would have to be shown no matter, unless somebody went in to use that for another, rented it for a dwelling. Right. Any other use that's not, but that would have to meet your adopted codes.
Yeah.
So whatever you got protection on the use as far as will it be safe for future, people that are coming here to worship, then, while they're there, they need to be safe, and any, that's the responsibility of the city, just to make sure that all the right people are being contacted.
I'm gonna ask Joe a question. Have all those considerations been made? Have we discussed that with the people requesting the conditional use?
We discussed the possibility of meeting those. I will caveat that since that's not what is before us, that we didn't go in depth on those, but they are aware that they will have to go see all these people if approved for civil plans and LEP.
I have a small concern that if we were to approve a conditional use, and then you all move forward with looking into all of these things and then found that you couldn't afford it, what would then happen to the property? Would the conditional use apply to someone else who wanted to come in?
It could be open. It could be, if you just approved it as a special use, it would be open to be transferable. You can condition it to where it's this church. Oh, yes, they can be a condition to say this is for this congregation. And for the utilization of just this conversion of a residential property. So you can condition that if you choose to.
I have an additional concern that I'd like to address with you, Tony, if you don't mind. Our current zoning ordinances do not allow for churches within residential areas, which we obviously know since they're here asking for conditional use. If we allow this conditional use in a residential area, are we setting ourselves up for future troubles if we deny any other churches who request inside of a residential area?
Conditional uses are privileges like driver's licenses. They do not set precedent.
Thank you.
And every situation is different when you're looking at that conditional use process.
The fence, you said it is gonna be 2 sides. Is that what's on the plan? The fence is on 2 sides, and so I'm assuming that's gonna be on the opposite side of the roads. North, right, north, south, north and west. So south and east will not have a fence. How large is the congregation? Is there many children? I mean, I'm just curious with all the traffic on 81 and Park Street, that's just really concerning.
We have, about 6 to 8 kids. The youngest is 6, 7. Oldest is 10.
How quickly has your church grown in the past few years? And what is your hope for the future?
We were, at best, I would say we were landlocked where we were at. The demographics of our, congregation are older and then young families. So we have grown 3 to 4 members a year the last couple of years, but in that, we've also lost members to passing away or moving to retirement homes, stuff like that. So we've stayed around 30 for the last 4 or 5 years.
I want to share with you too, a little of the conversations council has had in the past, including our Envision Walnut Grove initiative that we held last year. Things that citizens want to see in the city, discussions about land use in the future, and things we have seen from Walton County also. And we learn a lot from the other cities and counties. That corridor there has always been considered to be a commercial. And the concerns that we have in the city right now, especially I have, but I think everybody else, but I'm not going to speak for everybody else, is the traffic. And while you'll be holding services on Sundays, you also, I think, believe that you stated that you have other services or other activities during the week. And while you would be doing the turn in on Park Street and the turn out on Park Street and go down there, consideration has to be made to the current citizens of Walnut Grove. And I have concerns about, we can't accommodate the traffic that we have right now. And while you are a smaller group of 30, adding to that would be difficult. I think it would not be in the best interest of the citizens of Walnut Grove. While I want to say yes to everybody, and while my vote doesn't count, quite honestly, I do know that from discussions with council on different other developments, it has been recommended that we do traffic studies to see how the impact will come across for the citizens, especially in a residential area there, where people have lived on Park Street for many, many years. And I know there was discussion about not using the turnoff lane from 81, but I believe I remember hearing in our last work session that there would be handicap parking in the front of the building, and turning off 81 would be how to access that parking. Is that correct or not? No?
Can you restate that? Sorry.
No, it's okay. You can
No, it's okay. You can.
turning, because I believe there's still a driveway left open on 81. Is that correct?
Yeah, so what was recommended to us for cost effect was just not mess with that. But even though we would have the parking for handicap to be up in the front,
Yeah.
we would also have everyone still drive back around to the entrance on Park Street and not utilize the 81, because like they said, with the GDOT stuff, it wasn't even worth approaching.
Joe, is there any way to close that off without including GDOT? That driveway on 81?
But it could be abandoned at the right of way line. I mean, it could just be, have to be physically separated. And because if that was if that was someone's desire to do so. There's an existing gravel drive too that I'm sure was used to get to the back of the property. That, if something could be placed there, or if they were doing landscaping or something because the plan, the concept plan submitted does show the driveway that the improvements to going around to the front of the house. And I certainly understand the value of using existing paved space for ADA parking.
Sure.
Because it's already been graded.
Sure.
And it could be striped as long as it meets the ADA requirements. But yes, it could be.
So the entrance and exit would be on Park Street?
That's what is being proposed right now. You go in on Park Street and then come out on Park Street. And go
Right
down
turn.
Park Street.
Joe, what size is the commercial property? That's the, the R1 is 2.35 or something. What's the acreage on the other property? I couldn't read it.
It is 1
I was just thinking in terms of what commercial business could go in there, because if someone comes and applies for a business for that commercial corner outside, let's say the church, we're not even going there, we're gonna have to let that commercial business in if they meet the requirements for that space. So we're already in a situation of that corner could have heavier traffic no matter what, because it's already zone commercial. So we've already got that more open than it might be with the church.
You're correct.
I know. It's not always pleasant, but I do like to try to sound out every possibility.
All right. Is there any other discussion? I'm going to go ahead and ask council to make a motion about the conditional use requests on 2610 Leon Avenue.
I'll make one and we'll see if I get a second. I will make a motion to approve the conditional use for the R1 on Leone Avenue based on including the recommendations from planning and zoning based on, I was trying to think, was there something else I needed to add to that? It would be conditioned to this church only. The exception would be for this church only. Tony, is there anything else I need to add?
There's a question, do you want to close the driveway, the existing driveway?
Let me ask you a question in the middle of my motion here. My apologies. Could we have that closure just like a gate that stays locked for the most part, so that if it were needed for like service vehicle or something, it could.
You could condition it just like that. It would not be for normal congregational flow, but it would be
Okay,
gated and only for.
okay, then let me include that it would have it on the 81 side drive. It would be then gated from regular use.
Is there a second? That motion dies. Is there another motion? Is there any?
Yep, I'll make a motion to deny conditional use.
Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor of denying the request for conditional use? Please raise your hand. Three. Those opposed? And one. Okay. The conditional use did not get approved. Sorry that didn't work out for you tonight. Thank you for coming and answering our questions. Hopefully they won't bring you off on the road, and we'll know what location that you can find. But I know this council does things in the best interest of the citizens, and they made that decision. But thank you all for coming. Okay, so let's move on to new business, and there is no new business, so we're gonna go move on to report. And we'll start with the public works. Each of you received the public works. And we can see that they have been quite busy. We're not gonna go through it because we've already had a lengthy meeting. But if you have any questions from any of it, I know Joe knows the answer, and Toby's here, and Toby could answer for you. Toby, you want to give like 2 or 3 highlights?
Yeah, sure. You know, spent the safety grant money and all of it, some of it's already been put in. The Maverick has new LED lights on it, and the F-350 had lights that were gone, and they had moved one of the small lights on there, so now it has the big lights back on. It's working. One of the things that I just like to point out is the Christmas cleanup. I just acquired some spools, so what we'll do is the one-stop trailer next to us has been a good partner to us, and they are going to build us an apparatus that will go inside of the receiver on the back of the bucket truck to hold the spool, where we can roll the lights back on the spools, where it'd be easier to put them back up next year. So that will be a plus. If y'all have any questions on this, yes.
You know, Toby, I had a note to myself as Toby about the schools. I should have known by now. When you say something's going to happen, usually that's. Thank you.
They're on the back of my trucks. I just got to get with Chris. And I will say, one of the other things, Magnolia Springs subdivision has been cleaned up, much like Cambridge Chase was. They cleaned the sidewalks, curbing and the gutters over there, and cut back some limbs for sight distance when you're turning out of there.
Thank you. One question on that? Or are we moving over to the negotiation circle? Just to see if there's any cutback that we need to do or anything we can do?
Just one subdivision by subdivision.
Fantastic.
And I will say that the Public Works was able to use the $125 money set aside for safety shoes. Everybody was able to get safety shoes at the Wolfley Guided Company, Boots and Apparel in Monroe. And they actually offer 20% off for municipalities if they use a key card.
Oh, cool.
So actually, with that and the tax-free, it was a big savings.
Yeah.
So $180 pair of shoes cost you like $20.
Wow.
So.
Wow.
Yeah, I was gonna ask how much y'all were out of pocket.
$120?
Well, minus the $125.
Oh, $20. Okay, I understand.
$20 in a pocket.
Okay. And they got to choose whichever shoes.
Yes.
They had to have some kind of art. So.
Yeah, safety toe, whether it be composite or steel.
Right.
Thank you.
And I know you're not going to toot your own horn because that's not who you are. But the revamp that's being done at City Hall right now, when we moved out some of the cabinets on walls and on floors, there was trim missing, there's beadboard missing, there was stain missing on the floor. And Toby has replaced or put in all of that molding and beadboard, and you really can't even tell that it was ever missing it. He's done such a good job with that, and the guys have done an outstanding job of their prep work and patching and getting out the old stuff. And they're just working very hard, and it's starting to really come together. And we're just, I'm like on the end of our painting, and then we're going to put that new furniture.
I did in a past life, Lake Oconee trim work, so.
Well, very good.
About 4 years, so.
And I helped by putting my foot up against that. That was it. Thank you, Toby.
Yeah.
Okay, City.
Okay, take a look.
Oh, all right, well, we'll go ahead and move on to code enforcement. Anything from Greg?
Yes. Well, I'm Greg Chapman. So much, all the reports the same as the last meeting. The court date for many of those are coming up next week. So we should get a lot of movement on some of those issues that we found. Somebody living in an unauthorized camper, that sewage being put in the bucket. Some of those things. In a bucket. Which Environmental Health is very aware of those things, and they're doing their own investigation.
Was that the same person that lived in the camper?
Everything else is mostly good information with abandoned signs. We did have one formal complaint since then, and it was the appearance of someone hunting near a residential area. Our code enforcement officer went to investigate, and it appears it may just be a rock. It looks just like a blind from 300 yards away, but it appears that most likely it's a rock.
I stopped and looked at it yesterday and actually went home and got my binoculars.
Is
But
it not legal to hunt with a bow in city limits?
No.
so,
I'm thinking about the
Yeah. The issue the city faces, residential area is not defined as zoning. So really anywhere you are in the city, you are in a residential area.
Mm-hmm.
So even though agriculture had that recreational use, sad part is it's still residential area.
Okay.
So really, practically you cannot.
Okay. Bill, I'm gonna put you on hold for just a minute because I don't know how it happened, but Dana did not get on the agenda. So we're gonna invite Dana up right now.
Yeah.
Dana, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
Our apologies, my apologies.
I can always leave the board.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
No, it will be your responsibility to start checking our agenda. If you're not on there, let you know.
Let you know. I know. I should have done that. We just, I didn't get my business tonight or something, or maybe I didn't get here early. I just want to thank the mayor for all of her diligence in making sure we get hot water at the library. It's going to be installed on Saturday morning. So we're very excited about that and very thankful. Also, I thought our numbers might drop a little in January after the holidays, but we normally have 20 to 30 people come for Cuddle with Kittens. And we had almost 70 people come this past Monday. So,
Kennedy's mad at me because we couldn't make it. But
well-
car's been down again.
yeah, the good news is they'll be coming back in March, and then I talked to them about possibly the potential for coming every month. The only problem is they can only come if there's kittens available. For the first 45 minutes on Monday, due to a tropical storm of all the things that could go wrong, one kitten was there for 45 minutes with 70 people.
Oh my goodness.
So thankfully for my wonderful team that I have, and please know, I probably have the best library team in the whole region. But because of their quick thinking, they said, let's do one-on-one visits with everybody in the study room. So they lined up and then waited, because one kitten with 70 people is a recipe for disaster.
Mhm.
Let me just say that. Finally, 45 minutes later, the second kitten did arrive, and I'm glad to say that the very next day, both kittens were adopted. So it is a productive program, and the Humane Society is interested in potentially having this program every month. But again, it is contingent based off of how many kittens are available. So that makes it a little tricky. To plan an event where 70 people might come, but then we don't know how many kittens we'll have. But anyway, it's a great program. I'm very excited about it. We do have some programs coming up this month that I want to highlight. The Mayor Mon Creek Reading Club is Wednesday, the 21st at 4. The DAR is doing a genealogy workshop, which is fabulous. They've done it once before and it's wonderful. You do need to sign up for that, but it will be at the library on Saturday, January 24th. I'll be there that day, so just let me know or just call the library to sign up. A homeschool curriculum swap on Wednesday, January 28th. That's very popular. There will be a lot of people attending that. Everything is free, of course. It's just a swap. So we have a lot of, we're reading some of our materials, and so some of our weeded materials will make available during that homeschool swap as well. And then we have a brand new Minecraft block craft on Saturday, January 31st, that I think will be very popular. So ordered the blocks, they arrived, and Naomi and Maddie are heading that up, and I know they're going to do a great job with it, and there's a lot of excitement and interest around that. Right now, the mayor was able to come by and see our Georgia Artists with Disabilities art display that we have at the library for the next few weeks. I encourage all of you to come see it. It's very good. All of the art is available for sale. A lot of it is sold, but there is still art available.
So just know that it's, the prices are on it, the artist information is on it. And there's only one or two maybe pieces that are not available for sale. We will be closed Monday for the MLK holiday. And we also have an annual staff development day coming up in February, and we'll be closed for that, which will be on Wednesday, February 25th. It's only once a year that we all get together for staff development. It's a great day, and this year they're going to do it in Monroe at the library in Monroe. So it'll be cost saving, and we get to visit other libraries, which I think is great for us. Does anybody have any questions for me? All right, thank you.
I'll let you know as soon as I talk to Bob Allen and the electricians about your.
Perfect, and I'll message you or something sometime after the hot water heater goes in. Even with the cool temperatures, I will update, we didn't have any problems with the unit freezing.
Yeah.
So far.
Great. Great.
So it's working well.
Okay, good.
All right,
Good,
thank
good,
you.
good. Thanks, Dana, and my apologies again. We'll make sure.
It happens, we're
I know,
humans.
these things happen. Okay. Joe, I'm gonna come back to you then, please.
I'll roll up and did that, I guess. So as I've said before, this report is gonna get more and more meat on it as we go along. So every report's gonna add something a little new. As you can tell, business licenses, next report that's gonna be very high. Most of them are ready to be signed. But going through here the highlights, the new city website, last report it was delayed. They have fully finished it. We are on the training phase, and that will be conducted on February 2nd, I believe. But we are right there getting our new website up and running. Sanitation building software, it was completed and implemented. I am proud to say, and this is news to the mayor as well. Our deputy clerk, Sonny Cox, has gotten them all printed off, and they will be sent out tomorrow. First deals.
Been 3 questions on that this week. So.
It was a wild ride getting this. Continuing on, employee retirement, still seeking a viable product there, still talking with GMA and other entities, trying to find a way forward on that. The City Hall, the renovations have already been spoken of, but if you have not seen our clerk's office, it looks amazing. Best office in the building, and I'm gonna let her enjoy it for a couple months and then I'm gonna take it. Downstairs is looking great as well, and I would like to highlight the fact that it is amazing to me where we've been able to go with just our own staff without having to hire people in, and the amount of savings we're able to do with that and their skill sets. Craig, Jacob, and Toby are doing a great job in there. I plan on meeting with them today. If you would have saw me earlier, I was in jeans, boots, and a hoodie. And I got to play with billing software instead. But they're doing a phenomenal job. Permitting, all calendar year 25 documents are now in iWork. We're able to use that, makes us more effective on our permitting and to be able to audit those as well to make sure things are going through the right process. Continuing on with that, we're doing historic documents in there as well so we can have a history of each property. Citgo consolidation, I'm on my second draft for that. Some big things changed in some of our developments that I think is going to make a better argument for us to have our own zip code. And then I'm going to reach out to some other entities that I think can help us push it through a little better. And then the sewer ordinance, I've spoken with Joe Walsh before this. We're going to set up a meeting, hash a lot of that out, and hopefully have something to present very soon. Okay. Then the last thing I would like to speak on is meetings with council members. I believe I spoke about this last month. Definitely want to have a meeting with each council member. That's going to help me a lot with the budget cycle, finding priorities of each member, and not just budgeting, but we're going into our strategic plan, combining all those together with the council's wishes, the mayor's wishes, and our citizens' wishes from what we saw in Vision Wall and Grove. It's going to be a very drastic and useful tool as we go into that with NGRC.
Thank you, Jim. Then I'm gonna come back to you.
Sorry, I have to leave so fast. Nothing. December was very slow. There was no baseball, grounds or pavilion. Everybody's busy with holidays and all that stuff. but citations. There was, 0 from Walton County, 0 from GSP. But there was a citation, from the school resource officer at Walnut Grove High School. And we had 4 from code enforcement. That's it.
Do you have the balances? Or can you get that out to the lady, the council members?
Yes.
Great, thank you. My report is extensive, but I'm not gonna do it, and what I'm gonna do is email something out to you guys. Just the highlights, Joe and I met with, Walton County Development and all of the city representatives from all the cities to start talking about America's History. City of Walnut Grove will be holding a concert along with the development. Kane Short and Ben and all of them, along with Jersey also. We're holding a concert in the new amphitheater on July 3rd. And we're looking at doing vendors and some food trucks also. And unfortunately, the Development Authority is putting the bill on the line, which is very generous of them. But it's nice. It's going to be, it's Walton County in America 250. We are doing it as a group effort. There will be one T-shirt, and there is a theme to it, and it's called what is it, the Pathway, or something along those lines, where it's a week of events starting the weekend before, and it's going from city to city to city to city to city, ending up on July 4th. And there are celebrating heroes, there's parades, there's music, there's a lot of things going on. And as those plans start getting a little bit more concrete, we'll make sure we bring that information to you guys too. And if anybody's interested in being a part of it and helping out, let me know.
I volunteer.
I'll have you come to the meetings with us, okay? It's a great group of people. We have GFA visit, or they're visiting tomorrow to look at the sewer plant to make sure that there's one being built. And there is one being built. And so Jamella's coming to do a visit and take some pictures. I've got involvement with the city, different schools. I did the Reading Bowl kickoff on the 8th of January with Miss Davis, who came and we read to some of the different grades. And that's the Reading Bowl is a competition between Georgia schools and different grade levels to see who can read the most minutes. And the winner gets some great stuff and a little bit of money and a visit from, who's it? The football player.
Malcolm Mitchell.
Yeah, Malcolm Mitchell. So we're working on that, and I'm also going to be reading over at the schools. And if anybody else is interested in reading in the after-school program, and Maxine, I know you got pulled away. But if you're interested, you can let me know, and I will get you in touch with the person. They are always looking for people. The kids over there, when we walk in now, you're the mayor. They know you now. So it's really great. And actually, you heard from a parent whose child saw you and you read to, and they're like, yeah, I heard you read they're starting to know who we are. So it'd be great if they knew who all of us were, if you guys are available. We'll be applying for the LMIG by the end of this month to make sure we get that. We were trying to get the enclave in there, but doesn't look like we'll be able to do that. What else? We've got the WMA quarterly dinner coming up. We've got a bunch of stuff going on in City Hall. Tire stores moving along. We met with Matt Rutledge from Benchmark, and he has some questions about moving some things around. Nothing drastic. It's more just foliage to do better things for the citizens. And then I want to remind you about the chamber events, guys. Those are valuable. And I go to a monthly meeting. If you'd like to come with me sometime, let me know. And I will certainly have you come with, or you can go on your own. But that's really it, guys. There's lots of stuff going on, lots of good stuff. And I think the greatest thing that has happened this week is when Walton County put out on Facebook how at the request of the city of Walnut Grove, they are creating a 4-way stop out of a 2-way stop. And they're not only doing that, they are visiting each entryway into the city where the speed limit signs are, where we should slow people down. And they're working in conjunction with Joe and I and GDOT to make sure that things are getting slowed down. So now we've got to go start looking in the neighborhoods and see what they need there. So that's happening too. We get to work with Walton County. It's great. It's really great. And that's it for me. Okay, that's it.
That's all.
Okay, so anything in the town hall? It's just Dana and Bonnie. And so we don't have a need for executive session tonight, right? Okay, any council comments?
I was gonna make a comment about the post by Walton County. Because so often over the years that I've been associated with the city, I think the city and the citizens and the leaders have felt a little bit like a stepchild to Walton County. And to me, it's like we've turned that corner.
Yeah.
And so
We've got a
that's,
great working relationship
Yeah.
with them.
so that's, and that was evident by that post. So that was a good feel from that standpoint.
Definitely. Anybody else? Anything? Nothing else? Okay. Without further ado, is there a motion to adjourn? I'll move that. Okay, is there a second? Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous. Thanks, guys.
If y'all